Hi team, this is George. I'll be leading us through these next 16 weeks, and I'm excited to get started with our EDCI 590 because this is the chance you get to really showcase your skills and just absolutely create a portfolio that employers would be very welcome to see, very happy to see. So I'm glad to be a part of that. So with that said, let's jump in and talk about some of the content. One of the things that I want to talk about first is the peer review process. It's very important that you're actively engaged in the peer review process early and often, because a large part of your grade comes from the peer review process, and you are graded on how you give the peer review. What we want from this is, and we're going to look, here's a peer review. Whoops, I'm losing my mind here. My apologies. Here is the peer review rubric, and it all comes from, I'm not going to read over it because it all comes from right here underneath our resources. We have all of our peer review documents, passport guides, competency badges, and everything else. So with our peer reviews, there are examples as well with peer reviews on how they were done. Now, the purpose of peer reviews is to make our final product something that you would be very happy for a future employer to see, or your current employer to see, or anyone to see for that fact. So the peer review, think of the peer review process as an opportunity for professional growth. So please don't take any of the peer review comments personally. It's meant for professional growth is what they're meant for, and give them from that perspective as well. Think of when giving the peer review and the feedback that is for professional growth to make things even better. When you turn in your artifacts for the initial peer review, and you'll notice on the left we have peer review quite often throughout the process, you want that to be something that is polished, that you see as a final product and would be absolutely fantastic to turn in, because when you turn in for peer review, you're going to get perspective on that, and people will see some things that maybe you did not see. So by the time you then turn it in through Passport, and I take a look at it, it is a highly polished product, because that's what we want to end up with. So in this 16 weeks, my role really is quite a bit more of an assessor than anything else. So I could kind of just look at your materials, and it's a very binary decision. Now, just because one decision may be a no doesn't mean it's an absolute failure. It means we want this highly polished so an employer can look at this and there are no errors, everything works, things like that. So if for some reason I do say no, go back and make some changes on this prior to it being accepted, that doesn't mean the whole product is just a fail. That's not the case. So we'll look at it and use any of that feedback for professional growth. This is something that we as IDs go through pretty well constantly, is feedback, because we want to touch such a wide variety of people with our products that we need all of that perspective, and we want something to be very well there. So with that being said as well, I've already showed you the rubric and where that is here for your peer review documents. So this resources page right here is one of your best friends. The next thing is our bingo sheet. Let's see if I can click the right one. Yes, you want to make sure that as you're doing these, your artifacts align correctly with the badges. So we can't just throw anything in with the criteria of the badges. We want it to be, so let's say if you did something 527 that are clear, concise, professional foundations of LDT. You want an evaluation plan, the final project, creation of the job aids, things like that. So overall, that's how you want to make sure that everything aligns for the sub badge right there. So the bingo sheet is very important. Self-reflection, self-editing checklist, something you want to use, and this also comes from right here in our resources, self-assessment checklist. You want to spend some time looking at that. I'm not going to go over this in detail because I know you will have plenty of time to take a look at it and go through it step by step. And this is one of the examples of an actual peer review that happened within our resources page, and you can look at that at any time that you like. So 4 success factors. I even wrote myself some notes. You'll see them here. Make sure your artifact aligns with the challenge. Make sure it's polished right up front, because you don't want to turn in something that's not polished for peer review, because then you're going to get an excessive amount of feedback. So go through your individual checklist first, polish it, send it in for peer review. Fix anything that was found in the peer review process, or if somebody offers a slight different perspective, make any changes then. And then turn it in as early as possible into Passport. So you want to be turning in these artifacts along with the schedule right here, and the schedule is also, if we go to our home page, and it's coming up slowly and surely. Is it coming? There we go. Right here, here's our weekly schedule. You want to attain this schedule as closely as possible. And in our first week 1 challenge blog, you are going to go right here in your submission blog, and you are going to look at you are going to identify the challenge materials that you're going to post during the different weeks. That should say 7 challenge materials, so I will go in and change that. See what happens when mistakes are made. It doesn't look that professional, so I'll make sure that is changed prior to you coming in and seeing this. So the first step is, well, I should say, sorry, the statement of program commitment is the first step, and then once that is done, the challenge blog is the next step. And the sooner you can get started with these, the more beneficial it is for you, because you don't want to put all your stuff in towards the end where everybody else has done peer reviews and everything already, because then it's going to be causing other people to do extra peer reviews. You may not get peer reviews, so you may not have the opportunity to create, to edit, things like that. So just be very mindful of turning things in early and getting them into Passport. And then as things come into Passport, I'll go in, and the feedback from this class from me isn't going to be like other classes where I've given video feedback or very detailed feedback. It's going to be, the decision's going to be very binary, yes or no. And then if it's a no, it'll just be kind of a highlight of what areas need to be refocused on, because it's a high probability that it's just going to be one area within the artifact that you turned in that needs some support or something else. So I look forward to talking with everyone, look forward to seeing everybody's artifacts, and just kind of getting going through the 16 weeks. I'm very easy to get a hold of as well. So my phone number is in the syllabus. You can text me, you can email me as well, and all that is within the syllabus. So have a fantastic week, or have a fantastic 16 weeks, and I really look forward to this process.